As the fragile ceasefire holds by a thread, is Iran's new supreme leader Mojtaba Khamenei quietly building up firepower and preparing for the next brutal round of war with the United States? With Iran's drone factories ramping up production and its missile stockpiles already alarming Western capitals, is Tehran now entering a new phase of military power that its rivals did not fully anticipate? After the 12-day war in June 2025, has Iran really multiplied its attack drone output tenfold, using battlefield lessons to turn its drone force into a far more lethal and flexible weapon? If Iran now controls an arsenal that some analysts say could reach into the tens of thousands of missiles and rockets, has Tehran quietly built a hidden strike empire that can overwhelm regional defenses? Was Donald Trump really forced back to the negotiating table not by goodwill, but by Iran's growing military power and its ability to hit back across the region? With tensions still running high after the ceasefire, is Mojtaba Khamenei using this pause to quietly prepare Iran's forces for whatever clash with the United States might come next? On April 16, Iranian officials claimed that production of attack drones has risen tenfold since the June 2025 war, suggesting a massive and deliberate expansion of their drone fleet. A senior army official told Press TV that the surge happened over just 7 months after the US-Israel conflict, underscoring how quickly Iran shifted its military industry onto a war footing. Brigadier General Alireza Sheikh boasted that Iran has made significant gains in its drone capabilities, hinting at improvements in range, accuracy, and battlefield coordination. The senior commander insisted that Iran's forces are now prepared for any future scenario, from defending its borders to striking back deep inside enemy territory if required. Sheikh said these advances were driven by hard lessons learned during the 12-day war in June 2025, where Iran closely studied what worked, what failed, and how to adapt. Tehran now argues that its upgraded drones and missiles give it the tools to counter outside threats and block what it calls the enemy's strategic objectives in the region. Sheikh went further by linking the drone buildup to what he described as a new balance of power with Washington, claiming the war forced the US to take Iran's demands more seriously. Brigadier General Alireza Sheikh said, and I quote, "Our capabilities to confront threats, respond to them, and prevent the enemy from achieving its goals are a direct result of the lessons learned from the 12-day war in June 2025. Today we can say that the Islamic Republic of Iran has created a new discourse in the field of defense and security. This reflects military creativity, the ability to combine multiple and different components into an effective and powerful whole. The fact that we have brought the enemy to the negotiating table to discuss our demands is in itself a major achievement." Unquote. Sheikh's remarks come amid fresh reports that the IRGC has been busy replenishing and upgrading its missile arsenal, even as the guns fall briefly silent. Iran is reportedly using older missile components produced before its last war with Israel in an effort to replenish its arsenal, suggesting that Tehran is trying to restore capabilities quickly even under intense pressure. The Jerusalem Post made that claim about Iran's missile arsenal, citing a security source who said the country is relying on pre-war components as it works to rebuild its stocks. The same source said the IDF is closely monitoring these developments and preparing for multiple possible scenarios, indicating that Israel is treating the situation as a serious and evolving threat. This development was reported amid fears that the war could restart after US-Iran talks failed to produce an agreement in Islamabad, leaving major flashpoints unresolved. Israel is now gearing up for the possibility of renewed conflict, according to reports carried by all 3 major Hebrew television networks, reflecting growing concern that the truce may not hold. According to the Times of Israel, those preparations are coming less than a week after the 2-week truce first took effect, underlining how quickly hopes for de-escalation have begun to erode. All this is unfolding as a Brazil-based analyst argues that Western estimates of Iran's missile stockpile are far too low, warning that Tehran may have far more missiles ready to fire than many in the West assume. During last year's 12-day conflict, Marines estimated Iran's stockpile at close to 20,000 missiles, not a few thousand. Her breakdown pointed to roughly 7,000 to 8,000 ballistic missiles and 12,000 to 13,000 cruise missiles in various roles. Those figures, she says, include both active operational rounds and large numbers held in reserve across Iran's dispersed depots. Murrins notes that Iran began mass-producing Shahab-2 missiles in the early 1990s and kept those lines running for around 15 years. Shahab-3 then entered production from about 2004 to 2008, before being edged out by more modern, longer-range systems. In 2015, Tehran launched a major program to upgrade guidance systems on older missiles rather than scrap them. As a result, thousands of legacy missiles were modernized and pushed into reserve stocks instead of being retired. By roughly 2010, Iran had around a dozen different ballistic and cruise missile models in production at the same time. By 2010, Iran had about 12 missile models in active production, using multiple lines to push out different systems at the same time. Those parallel lines meant Tehran could sustain output across families of missiles rather than relying on a single flagship weapon. After 2015, between 8 and 12 missile types with ranges above 1,000 kilometers reportedly entered or stayed in active production. Long-range cruise missiles such as Sumar and Meshkat are believed to exceed 2,000 kilometers, putting distant bases and cities in reach. Solid fuel systems like Ahmad and Sejal also cross the 2,000, allowing fast, survivable launches from deep inside Iran. Together, these standoff systems let Iran strike targets across the region without ever sending a manned jet near hostile defenses. Murrins flatly rejects Western think tank claims that Iran had only about 2,500 missiles in stockpile at the start of this war. She calls those lowball estimates illogical, given Iran's decades of mass production and multiple simultaneous assembly lines. On what she describes as a conservative calculation, Murrins argues Iran's arsenal now exceeds 17,000 missiles. Patricia Murrins said, and I quote, "If we assume a conservative average production rate of roughly 100 units per model per year, taking into account multiple parallel production lines, that alone would give Iran, over the last 15 years, an arsenal exceeding 17,000 missiles. There is simply no logic in claiming that Iran, after more than 30 years of dedicated missile production with multiple active lines, had only 2,500 missiles in stockpile as of February, as many Western think tanks claim. These estimates consistently understate Iran's real industrial capacity. Iran has an entire ecosystem of public companies, private firms, and startups, with more than 300 companies dedicated to the missile sector, out of a total of another 6,500 that support the country's defense in various areas." Unquote.